1976 provided a lifetime supply of tranquil, shimmery instrumentals, and one of the warmest was recorded in a penitentiary. It was by Ike White from his singular album Changin Times, the track Antoinette. And I am just so thankful that he managed to pull it together with the great musicians that he found. Ike White plays guitar and keyboards on this track. And he's joined by Doug Rauch on bass and Greg Errico on drums, who also co-produces the album with Jerry Goldstein. Despite the stormy beginning, this is a very warm instrumental. Going from C7 to C major 7, basically. We're emphasizing, the tonic is in C, da, but you're hearing like a B flat, B, that's the key change over the, that's the change over the tonic. That liquidy wah-wah that, you know, at the beginning of each time it hits the major seventh, that hear those little those little bendy notes that he's throwing in there. Hear those light electric piano, that light Fender Rhodes. Hear those little faint little scales he's throwing in right there. I gotta say, the bass is just smooth as velvet. I wonder who Antoinette is, if that name is significant to Ike White. Like, personally, I'm wondering if that's the woman waiting for his release. Or the woman that he was waiting, or just someone close to him, a woman in his life. Now we've gone to a very different section from the main, like the song proper, but more of a tense section. And if this is about a woman, I'm wondering if this is about maybe the turbulent part of the relationship. If what we were just hearing was the more romantic, peaceful side, this is... the drummer is throwing in some real just off accents here. He's really throwing it, creating a lot of tension with just the strange beats he's throwing in, like emphasizing like kind of these off notes and everything. I wonder, like he must have like worked this out separately. It's just amazing how certain like it's very some of these every once in a while I'll notice like a drum pattern that just seems really counterintuitive to the track itself, and yet it creates a whole nother dimension that it just wouldn't be the same without it. He must have done some overdubs because I'm hearing some faint little organ underneath all that guitar work. But he's playing some pretty mean scales here. That bass oscillator just won't quit. It's like ding 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 ding. It's almost like we had a song within a song there. And they're kind of like Harandanu by Weather Report, where there's that main frame of the track that we all know and love, and then there's that part that in the middle where it gets all faster and more brisk and such. If this music was to represent something autobiographical, like Antoinette is the woman that's awaiting him when he is released, and like it began with this same movement, and that was like remembering the good times, and then maybe the brisk section, the more intense passage, was the turmoil, were the incidents that led to his incarceration. And now that he returning to this part again, he's looking forward to the future of being reunited with his loved one. And he's maybe like picturing himself and her, if it's his lover anyway, or if it's like a female relative, maybe he's just picturing peace back home. But if it's his lover, maybe he's picturing him and her, like on a sunny, like on a sunset ocean, and this music's supposed to represent the shimmering light of the setting sun against the low waves of the sea, sparkling and all. orange sky. Hear that sustain synth? It sounds like a mellotron. It just like you don't hear it hear the key hit, or really you don't hear the start of the key at all. It just kind of shimmers through, shimmers like in the background of each chord, like it's like a ray of like bright light just coming from the back of it all. Now we basically got that shimmery, like kind of like symphonic key, like synthesizer, and we've got the drum pattern and that smooth bass and just those light guitar parts with like hitting the wah wah every few bars. And those slightly sparkly electric piano notes faintly heard. Here I'm just faintly putting in some bendy notes, bendy strings on his guitar, just ever so faintly. One of those like passages that could just go on for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, heck, and I could just like bliss out the whole time. That was Ike White with Antoinette from his singular album Changin Times, released in 1976, released on Lax Records, which put out a lot of Wars output. Also known as LA International Records, founded by Jerry Goldstein, the producer of this record. And on the back cover, it says, "Special thanks to Superintendent Jerry Enomoto, California, Department of Corrections, and all the personnel of Tehachapi State Prison, without whose help this project could never have been achieved." And then there's a quote Oh, by Stevie Wonder. There's a quote at the bottom. There are many Ike Whites in this world. Let's give these men a fair making, not the color of his skin, his final fate for being behind bars. Stevie Wonder. Oh, I think there's maybe a cutout. The man's name is Ike White, and he's currently incarcerated at the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo. There since last December, he has spent the years since a 1964 murder conviction and short stints at various California institutes. Huh. Well, I never knew the reason why he was in prison. So, I'm taking it he may not have ever been paroled, if that's the case. Yeah, maybe I'll look up. Huh. Well, it's still, even despite finding that out right here. I still love it's still a beautiful song. I mean, he made something good with this album. I'll just leave it at that and refrain from any further judgment unless I explore the case more and learn, and that's a topic for another time. But anyway, beautiful song, and I don't see how many people could disagree. If they love those chords, they love those instruments, they love those arrangements, and no man, or what is the phrase? I heard it once. It was almost 20 years ago. I heard it on an episode of Jag once. No man is defined by the worst thing that he ever did. Or if you know the quote, leave it in the comments below. A man is more than the worst thing that he ever did. Anyway, for more rubies and sapphires from the Ike White album, see the directory of albums by American jazz funk artists, linked in the description below. Like and subscribe and follow me on social media to know when the next video is coming out. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel tour maximalist, signing off.